Transmedia, just a tea.
And it seems they were great pioneers in terms of they created a system of roads, which is incredible.
The Inca road system was the vertebral spine of the empire. Nowadays, the territories of Ecuador, a little bit of Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia. But the Incas are basically using and improving technology that has been developed in the Andes since millennia before. The Incas lasted for more than 100 years. Have been revealing already that the Incas were in these areas way before, a few decades before than what it was considered.
What is the success for an archaeologist?
Understanding how past societies, especially where we don't have any written records or anything that we can translate, how they live, what were their aspirations, what were they thinking.
So it's not hunting treasures like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, burial site will give us a lot of information, but an area where they depose the trash will give us even more information.
Transmedia. Esteban Galán.
Hi, welcome to Transmedia. Today we are very lucky because we have the archaeologist José Bastante and Professor Lindsay Riley-Carey. Thank you for being here. Would you mind to introduce the archaeologist José Bastante?
I can try. So José Bastante, from what I can understand, is an expert in archaeology and has done a lot of research and work in Machu Picchu, and in fact led in the development and archaeological digs that were related to that area. And we are very lucky to have you here. Thank you very much. And thank you for accepting to do this in English. We've just done one in Spanish. And
thank you to Pontificia University of Peru and Professor
for facilitating this. So we're here because we're interested in the whole kind of philosophy that the Incas brought to us, related specifically to terminology such as Ayni, Minka, and a new one that I was not so much aware of, Mita. First of all, are the words the same when you talk about them in English? And what are they? What's behind them? What's the philosophy?
Yeah, the words are the same. Ayni, Minka, or Minga and Mita. They're Quechua words, and it's basically a reciprocity system in the Andes in different levels, at the familiar level, at a local level, and under the state level for the case of the Mita. This is something that still works nowadays. It hasn't disappeared. It's more than 5,000 years of civilization. It's not just the Incas employing these systems, but many civilizations prior to the Incas the Incas are basically the last step of the civilizatory development in the Andes.
It seems that they had a very nice kind of society and environment because it worked on collaboration, reciprocity, and they were, I can imagine that they had a pretty nice life. Do we know whether it worked well in that way? That they were happy people?
In general, yes, I believe that they were happy people. Some nations within the Inca Empire were not as happy to have been conquered by the Incas, but in general, the whole Tawantinsuyo, the whole Inca Empire worked efficiently. People had enough food to eat. If there was a problem, a drought, or floodings, or something that will impede certain area or certain community to access to food, the empire will actually give them everything that they needed. And of course, the people there will be reciprocal with the state at that level also. I believe that Bedouin at one point said that there was a primitive kind of socialism. It's not exactly like that, but and you cannot put the development of civilization in the Andes under any Occidental category. We can get approximations like the Inca Empire, but it didn't work quite exactly like that.
Okay. And it seems they were great pioneers in terms of they created a system of roads, which is incredible. Kind of like you talked about them being able to use for the rivers canalizations.
And the paths that facilitate as well the conquer from the Spanish, no? It's this kind of, they make the society very well connected and very rich because they were able to exchange goods but facilitate as well the arrival of the
conquerors.
Yes, the Inca road system, that reaches nowadays the territories of Ecuador, a little bit of Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia. That, by the way, some of those segments are inscribed in the World Heritage List. It was not 100% made by the Incas. There was other civilizations that made these roads. Of course, the Incas made new roads. They made previous roads better. There was the main road that will go through the highlands, the main road, let's say from Cusco to Quito, the main road, and farther south, the main road that goes through the coast, and a lot of interconnections between those. Yeah, that was the vertebral spine of the empire, but the Incas are basically using and improving technology that has been developed in the Andes since millennia before.
Okay.
They were not maybe too fast because we're speaking the Incas a bit more than 100 years civilization, but they managed to expand so quick the territory. And maybe they made this speed in the expansion make them more vulnerable to be conquered because they expand so quick in just 2-3 generations. They managed to, because the territory was huge. You have described the countries are involved, all the territory of the Incas in a bit more than a century, and it was around 20-30 million people so it was a huge and
yes, around 2 million square kilometers, and I will say a moderate estimate, no more than 8 million people.
No more than 8 million people. Okay.
Now, it was a fast expansion, but the Incas lasted like for more than 100 years. We were talking about the whole idea of the Inca expansion with Pachacuti in 1438 has been seriously questioned by the new radiocarbon datings that have been done in AMS that can give you a very, very narrow error regarding plus and minus in years, right? Because before, if you got a regular radiocarbon during the 80s, you will get plus minus 100 or 200. So that didn't really work for the Incas. Now we can shorten the difference to 15 or 20 years. So that works. And like I told you, the researchers in different parts of what the Inca Empire was are starting to have been revealing already that the Incas were in these areas way before, a few decades before than what it was considered. So anyway, the Incas probably started their whole maquinaria in Cusco around the beginning of the 1200s. And yes,
So 2 centuries before is normally the history say that they started.
No, the history says that it's 1200. It's just that the expansion outside of Cusco occurred in 1438 after this mythical battle of Pachacuri with the Chancas. So there, the conquest is fast in some cases. In some other cases, they have to reconquer areas. The minute the Inca died, the new Inca will have to renovate the alliances with these other people, these other nations. There's a lot of nations within the Inca Empire. Some of them are not very happy with the Incas because their conquest was not easy, and they wanted to get rid of the Incas, especially Professor Valdemar Espinosa has made have published several books about the destruction of the Inca Empire, and his theory, and I agree with this, among other things, is that these groups that were not super happy with being under the Incas, they supported the Spaniards. Chancas, Huancas, Cañaris, and Chachapoyas. Yeah, they thought that it was going to be better. The Spaniards were good politicians. They basically convinced the Inca nobility that they were coming, fixing things. The Inca nobility and the other nobilities of the other nations, they were coming to fix things, and then they were living. Well, we know that's not true.
We had the experience in the reconquering the peninsula from the Arabs. As you know, they were for many centuries the Arabs. And basically, most of the time, the way they managed to reconquer it was using these dissensions between territories in the Arab, between the Arab kingdoms, the called taifas, and probably they used this experience for the same in Peru, using, probably was.
Yeah, it was soon after the Reconquista that Colón set sail to find the new world. The Spaniards had already some experience, a lot of experience in Central America. The like canones and these ideas of how civilization worked here were diametrically opposed to what it worked in the old world. And yes, well, the time the Arabs were ruling the Iberica Peninsula was what, 8 centuries?
Yeah, 8 centuries. Yeah.
It was not that much.
What interests me as well is about transposing kind of those ideas of collaboration and reciprocity into a more kind of actual or modern environment. And do you think there's anything, because our society is not really built like that. And when we look at, companies, brands, how they're organized, is there anything from there that you think could be used within a more actual environment that could help to achieve more sustainability or a different leadership model?
Yeah, but that depends on the owners of the companies.
Yes.
When the rules that the state set for those compacts.
That's the problem. It's how the investors want their money, and that's the.
I mean, if we can use a lot of examples from the Andean world that are still valid today related to reciprocity and other interesting practices to improve the world, improve humanity, and make every citizen equal. But it seems that there are some things that are not working in the world and that have to be corrected. But that's well, as citizens, we can contribute, but the big impact is going to be made by the people that we chose to rule our countries.
We are using money for measuring everything right now. And before the Andes, correct me if I'm wrong, you were using quipus. The quipu?
For recording, yes.
It was just
And numbers, well, in general, contabilization of everything. Yeah, that was precise. No, that had no value. Actually, there's no currency in the Andes before the Spanish arrived. So this is a society where gold and silver are for the gods or for the nobility. You're not going to be rich if you have a lot of gold in your house. Actually, houses didn't even have doors. The richer you were, and this works also nowadays in certain communities, is the more family you have for actually helping you in the sense of Ayni, or helping the community in the sense of Minka, or eventually helping the government in the sense of Mita.
Wow, that's interesting.
okay. I think is the moment to finish the interview. But before, I would like to, if we can think about something, thinking concretely in Machu Picchu, that Machu Picchu can help us in terms of especially the relation with the nature, how in their constructions they took into account the environment, how they study and the environment, and as well the future, because we are thinking on constructions that they have many centuries and they are on top of constructions that were before, that they were even more ancient, some thousands of years ago. So it's something we can learn from Machu Picchu that we can apply right now for for our infrastructures, for the design of the cities, spaces, etc.
Well, I would say planification, respect for the territory, for the deities, and in general the surroundings, and what they're showing us is that we can really get an equilibrium between what humans can do and nature. It doesn't need to be a constant fight.
What is the success for an archaeologist?
Understanding how past societies, especially where we don't have any written records or anything that we can translate, how they live, what were their aspirations, what were they thinking.
So it's not hunting treasures like Indiana Jones.
No, actually, burial site will give us a lot of information, but an area where they depose the trash will give us even more information.
Anything, Professor Lindsay?
Thank you so much. That was really
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Transmedia, just a tip.